public utilities. Ang pagtitiyak na ang ating mga kontrata ay nasa best interest ng Pinoy at higit sa lahat, ang pangangalaga ng ating national security anuman ang mangyari. Hindi humihinto na mapag-usapan ng ating mga kababayan ang usapin sa pag-control ng China sa ating mga transmission lines. Matatandaan noong November 19, during the budget deliberation of the Department of Energy, I posed the question, is it possible for our power grid to be taken down remotely? The replies, as well as the exchanges that followed, were interesting, to say the least. Sa isang banda, sabi ng sarili nating mga government agency, ito ay posible. In fact, according to DOE Secretary Alfonso Cusi, China can, quote, potentially shut down the Philippines' power transmission, close quote, because of its digital nature. Transco CEO and President Melvin Matibag also went on record as saying that our government, through Transco and DOE, does not have full access and has very limited control of our transmission grid. It's the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, a private corporation with a concessionaire agreement with the government and 40% owned by China via its State Grid Corporation that controls the grid. It was also during my interpellation that it was confirmed that a certain NARI group, a Chinese company, provides the installed system software in the system control room. Expectedly, ito ay pinabulaanan ng NGCP na nagsabi na, and I quote, China is no Wile E. Coyote with a red button, close quote, to shut down our power grid. Malacanang has, it appears, decided not to listen to its own government officials, and the president has been quoted as saying, I trust China. That is the threshold question that I would like to ask today, Mr. President. Can we really trust China? I want to further break it down into 3 questions. Firstly, to what extent does China control our transmission lines? Secondly, is there reason to fear? Thirdly, anong epekto nito sa pang-araw-araw na buhay ng mga Pilipino? First question, to what extent does China control our transmission lines? According to NGCP, China's role via the State Grid Corporation is that of technical advisor. Our information, however, suggests otherwise. First of all, isa sa di umanong unang mga ginawa pagkatapos ng takeover ng NGCP ay ang pagpasok ng NARI control system. Ang operating manuals ng control system na ito ay nakasulat sa wikang Mandarin, ayon na mismo sa ating local control engineers. Ang control system ay napaka-high-tech at kailangan ng ICT o Information and Communication Technology para sa remote at automatic monitoring ng power facilities. Pag may aberya, mga Chinese na engineers lang di umano ang maaaring mag-troubleshoot. Ang kaalaman ng mga local engineers ay limitado sa pagpapagana ng equipment. Sa isang ginawang panayam sa DZMM ay binanggit ng NGCP spokesperson sa katulad din na tanong kung mayroon bang mga Chinese engineers na nagmamando, ay sinabi niyang ever since Pilipino po yan. Taliwas sa pag-amin ng budget hearing na may Chinese engineers dati at nakasulat sa wikang Mandarin ang mga manual bago ito na-translate. Sa isa na namang panayam ay muling tahasang sinabi ng spokesperson ng NGCP na advisors at board members lamang ang role ng mga Chinese na nagtatrabaho sa NGCP dahil bilang may 40% share, entitled ang China sa 4 seats. Mawalang galang lang po, ngunit ito ay pinabubulaanan ng mga dokumentong nakarating sa aking tanggapan. Itong mga dokumentong ito ay nagpapatunay na si Mr. Liu Zhaoqiang ay umuupong Assistant Chief Technical Officer for Operations and Maintenance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if your designation is operation and maintenance, you work in the nuts and bolts of the enterprise. This document is supported by a photo of Mr. Liu Zhaoqiang representing the NGCP with the Bureau of Fire Protection. Another document names another Chinese national, Wen Wenbo, as the Chief Technical Officer. Ang malala pa, the current chairperson of the NGCP is Zhu Guangchao of the State Grid Corporation of China. According to the Business Mirror, on him, quote, rests the corporation's operation, maintenance, and development of our country's power supply and demand, close quote. With Chinese nationals at the helm, it's of little surprise that Filipino engineers are regularly sent to China to participate in training programs hosted by the State Grid Corporation of China. Pero hindi dito nagtatapos dahil pangatlo, the NGCP has also awarded various procurement contracts to different Chinese firms. Materials for the infrastructure of the transmission lines have been supplied by Chinese firms using Chinese design technology. I'm prepared to show you a list of Chinese corporations that have won contracts with the NGCP. Makikita sa listahang ito na 43 contracts have been awarded to Chinese corporations. Bukod dito, Mr. President, it leads me to believe that there are indeed issues of proprietary access. Ibig sabihin, mula nang pinalitan at inilagay ang software system called NARI, ang mga sumunod na pangyayari ay nagbibigay daan na upang halos lahat mula sa mga gamit at mismong mga tao dito ay dapat ay compatible o akma sa inilagay na buong technology design inside the system control room which operates our nationwide transmission lines. Mr. President, ang chairman, Chinese. Halos lahat ng contractors, Chinese. Ang system software, made in China. At ang training sa China. Pero dapat magtiwala at maniwala tayo na ito ay Filipino-run? It's my duty as a legislator to sound this alarm. It's our duty as the legislature to ensure that the interests of Filipinos are adequately protected. Second question, is there reason to fear? Mr. President, this is not the first time that the issue of national security has been raised in relation to Chinese involvement in the NGCP. In 2015, none other than our much beloved and much missed Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago said that a national security virus has infected the country's power sector. Even then National Security Advisor Cesar Garcia expressed concern, saying that the country's power transmission grid should be kept solely in the hands of the Philippine government. In fact, then Energy Secretary Jericho Petilla revealed that the visas of the 18 Chinese citizens working in the NGCP would no longer be renewed. Kung dati tayo ay may pangamba sa posibleng implikasyon ng dayuhang puwersa sa ating power sector, bakit ngayon tila hindi na dapat? Dahil ba kaibigan na natin ang China? Ang China na naglubog ng barko na tanga ng ating mangingisda? Ang China na kailanman hindi ginalang ang naging pasya ng isang international tribunal? Ang China na patuloy ang militarization sa mga islang dapat ay sa atin? Sabi pa ng spokesperson ng NGCP, it's not possible for China to remotely shut down our power supply because to shut down the 200 substations, China would need at least 200 substation managers to shut off several breakers in each of the substations one by one. It would have to be shut down manually. Not only has the Transco president laughingly called this system Jurassic and NGCP statements an outright lie, but in 2014, the then United States National Security Agency Director Michael S. Rogers already conceded that China is capable of mounting cyber attacks that would paralyze power grids in the USA. U.S. intelligence reports confirm the capacity of China to engage in cyber warfare on critical national infrastructure, or CNI, including power grids. Thus, the need for a cybersecurity audit of the NGCP's operations, including a source code audit of the software and firmware used in the SCADA system installed by the State Grid Corporation of China to determine whether backdoors or other vulnerabilities have been maliciously inserted into the code. Worryingly, the NGCP spokesperson also did not deny that NGCP sources its technology from Huawei, only that proper bidding process were followed. I find this worrisome because of a 2012 report by the U.S. Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence that found clear ties between Huawei and the PRC military and suggests that Huawei carries out research and development for Chinese intelligence. It should also be known, Mr. President, that the issue of national security has been raised in this chamber before, during the Senate deliberations of Now Republic Act 9511. This was raised by none other than the late and beloved Senate President, then Senator Nene Pimentel. May I quote from the records dated September 9th, 2008, page 557. Considering that the State Grid of Hong Kong Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of the National Grid of China, Senator Pimentel asked about its implication to the country's national security. Senator Enrile replied that he does not see any national security problem for the Philippines because the Chinese could not overhear anything and could not even probably feel or hear the passing of current in the wires, close quote. May mga telecommunications trucks na sa loob ng mga substations, according to the Transco president. Mr. President, we're talking about our national security here. We're talking about the critical exposure of our power grid to a foreign power. Paano tayo hindi kakabahan? Gayong ayon sa mga opisyales ng DOE at Transco, hinahadlangan ng NGCP ang inspection and audit ng kanilang facilities, partikular ang cyber audit, kahit na halos 200 beses na ito hiningi. Adding to our fears, the onerous concession agreement between NGCP and the government allows NGCP blanket control and authority over our power grids. Sila ang masusunod kung kailan at anong oras natin dapat gamitin ang ating kuryente, anong volume ng kuryente, at saan lugar ito dapat pumunta. Ganito ang gustong mangyari ng NGCP at China. Ang sumunod tayo sa kanilang kagustuhan dahil na rin nasa kanilang mga kamay ang pagpapatakbo at pangangasiwa na parang isang remote control sa kanilang mga palad. Because at the heart of this matter, Mr. President, ang punot dulo ng usaping ito ay ang isang onerous na concession agreement. Financial data shows luging-lugi ang gobyerno at pambihirang ganansya naman ang kinikita at napupunta sa China at NGCP. Government is losing money while the NGCP as a natural monopoly is raking in the profits. I have a slide here on the revenues and taxes, Mr. President. As of 2018, nabawi na ng NGCP ang mahigit kumulang na 180 billion pesos na investment nito just from the profits of the electricity transmission business. May 15 years pa na natitira sa kabuoang 25 years na lifespan ng concession agreement. Renewable pa ang kontrata ng another 25 years. Aside from these, NGCP enjoys tax exemption privileges granted by its franchise. The government has foregone tax revenues of around 7.4 billion pesos annually because of this exception. Kung dati ay 20.5 billion pesos ang government revenues from operations, ngayon ay 6.75 billion pesos ang yearly average in revenues for the government ng NGCP. Kung dati ay 9.5 billion pesos ang binabayaran na buwis ng Transco bago na privatize ang transmission business, ngayon ay 2.2 billion pesos na lang binabayaran na buwis ng NGCP. Kaya naman, hindi pa nila natapos bayaran ang concession fee na ayon sa concession agreement ay installment ang bayaran, nabawi na nila ang puhunan. Third question, ano ang epekto sa pang-araw-araw na buhay ng mga Pilipino? One can't help but wonder if the high prices of electricity in this country are the result of this unconscionable contract. One can't help but wonder how much of what the ordinary Juana de la Cruz pays for electricity every month goes to a Chinese corporation in far-off mainland China. Let me give an example. Batay sa dokumento entitled Regulatory Reset for the Transmission Business, dated April 3, 2019, na isinumite ng Transco sa Senate Committee on Energy, pinakikita dito na mayroong delay sa rate setting schedule ng ERC at makikita din dito na dahil na rin sa pagkaantala ng nabanggit na rate setting ay patuloy na umiiral ang unusual na 15% rate approved ng Energy Regulatory Commission para sa tinatawag na WACC o Weighted Average Cost of Capital ng NGCP. Batay sa isang eksperto na aking nakausap, ang global average na umiiral na WACC ay 8% lamang. Kailangang maintindihan natin ang punot dulo nito para sa ating mga kababayan na buwan-buwan ay binubuno ang mataas na presyo ng kuryente. At kung sakaling ma-establish ng husto na may kinalaman ang mataas na presyo ng kuryente sa sinisingil sa atin ng NGCP, ay nararapat lamang na managot hindi lang ang NGCP, kundi ang mga ahensya ng pamahalaan na nagbigay daan sa pang-aabuso ng NGCP, kagaya ng ERC. Mataas na nga ang presyo natin sa kuryente, exposed pa ang pambansang seguridad. Para naman tayong ginigisa sa sarili nating mantikan yan. At parang nagbigay tayo ng all-access pass sa mga dayuhan. I look forward to the commitment of Chair Sherwin to conduct a hearing to audit the NGCP and investigate these issues that weigh heavily on us. These are many and multi-pronged issues, but the primary issue is national security. We need to assert our sovereignty and protect the welfare of our people. I'm asking specifically for three things. Una, there should be immediate inspection and cybersecurity audit of the NGCP facilities, including a source code audit of the software and firmware running on the SCADA system by government officials and independent experts with a view towards looking at national security implications. Second, we should investigate ERC approval for NGCP's transmission charge in related to the unusual weighted average cost of capital or WACC of 15.40% instead of the standard global average of 8%. At kung mapatunayan na labis ang singil ng NGCP, ay simulan ang proseso ng reimbursement sa mga mamamayan. Third, and most importantly, let's review the concession agreement and the legislative franchise of the NGCP. The Senate, in the exercise of its oversight powers, should exact accountability from all those involved in and who continue to profit from this unconscionable contract. When a private corporation can stonewall lawful and reasonable requests for inspection and audit by duly appointed authorities of the Philippine government, while raking in billions in profit, one must ask, saan sila kumukuha ng lakas ng loob? In reflecting on these, I think we can find answers to the question, can we really trust China? Salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we refer the privileged speech of our Honorable Senator Risa Hontiveros to the Energy Committee as primary committee and National Defense and Security as secondary committee, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, so referred.
Finally, Mr. President,